Wow, a surprise video, hooray. So before I get into it, I need to say this again. I am so sorry about my Millie video. To make up for it, I'll do whatever the top comment says or something, I don't know. I've been really busy with school, and I mean, it's also me being lazy, if I'm being honest. But I've also been working on my swords for New York Comic Con, and I've been having a lot of trouble with them.
Because God hates me.
It's like I'm trying to get them done as soon as possible so they'll be out of the way, but at the same time I don't want to rush them because then they might not come out as good. But then I remember I'm on a time limit and only have till October 18th to finish, and then so it's a whole thing. Very stressful. So I apologize. Verosika, from what I've seen, is a character who gets a lot of praise. I don't think I've ever seen someone who doesn't like her, especially after Apology Tour. Verosika has become a lot more popular and loved. And I liked her for the most part in Apology Tour too, except for some things that I was kind of like iffy about, which I will get to. And trust me, like, I wanted to like Verosika. I love her design. I love her voice actor. Also, she's a singer. Like, hey, girl, me too. There are just still a couple of things about her that bother me, some definitely more serious than others. For example, in my opinion, the worst thing she's done in this show is what she does to Moxie in episode 3, and it's pretty sad that I've never seen anyone talk about how fucked up this is.
Boss.
Don't touch that!
Moxie, don't let her access any of your holes!
I gotta go lie down now.
I've said this in my Angel Dust video, but I'll say it again here. Controversial opinion. I don't mind Hell of a Boss making jokes about sexual assault. I personally really like dark humor. But with that being said, there is a huge difference between saying something fucked up and actually doing something that's fucked up. Like, spoken jokes about sexual assault is so much different than actually going out and sexually assaulting someone, or portraying a situation where someone is being sexually assaulted and using it for comedy purposes. The problem with the sexual assault jokes in Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel are that they are very inconsistent. Because, as I mentioned before, sometimes sexual assault would be portrayed as a joke, for example, Penchus in the club, and the scene we were just talking about with Moxie and Verosika. There's also Angel harassing Husk, which is also played off as a joke. But then other times, sexual assault is portrayed as something that's supposed to be serious. For example, Val and Angel. It makes no sense, and like I said before, it's incredibly inconsistent. And yeah, I know these characters are fictional, but I would argue that it still is pretty disrespectful towards them as well. Like, it has to go both ways, dude. You can't sometimes show sexual assault for comedy and then show it as something bad later. And people could be mad at me for saying this next thing, but I just want to talk about this because I feel like it's important. Let's point out the obvious. Verosika is a female and Moxie is a male. If someone can find an instance of a female sexually harassing a male in either of these two shows and it not being portrayed as a joke, I will publicly apologize on my channel and shout you out. Because I've watched Hell of a Boss like 10 fucking times, and I could not tell you any instances of a male being sexually harassed by a female and it not being for comedic reasons. And because I don't have Amazon Prime, I only watched Has Been Hotel once, but the only instance of this that just barely scratches the surface of harassment is this scene in Happy Day in Hell.
And touch my parts!
No thank you. I'm just gonna fulfill my destiny.
And it's very, very minor and barely even qualifies. So why is this important? Why am I bringing this up? Men being sexually assaulted by women hasn't been taken seriously for years. Notice how when a woman opens up about being assaulted by a man, I mean, yeah, obviously there's gonna be dickheads, but like most of the replies from women are very supportive and positive. But then when a man opens up about being sexually assaulted by a woman, he gets called lucky. It is immoral, it's absolutely fucking disgusting. And then you guys wonder why men are afraid to speak up. And I've seen people saying, oh, well, it's other men who tell men that they're lucky for being assaulted by women. Yeah, true, but I've also seen some women saying shit like, oh yeah, men can't get raped and all that, and it's so sad. And maybe I'm taking this too seriously. I know this is fiction, I know this show is supposed to be a joke, but it still really bothers me, the double standards and this inconsistency. I just don't understand how you can show some characters being assaulted as a joke, and then when it happens to other characters, it's suddenly traumatic and bad. Like, literally, why does this scene have to exist? I hate it so much. Without this scene, I would have liked Verosika so much more. I'm sorry, I just can't like a character who does this. I can't like a person who does this. What sucks is that Verosika does have some development throughout the show, especially in Apology Tour, but let me be the first to say, alright. Hosting a whole party dedicated to hating your ex is pretty childish, obsessive, and unhealthy. Like, you shouldn't be this hung up over it. It's okay to mourn, of course, but this isn't going to help you move on. This is just going to bring those bad memories back. And I know that she doesn't know what happened between Blitz and Stolas, but it pisses me off how Verosika invited Stolas to the party. So let me just say, I'm not trying to victim blame Verosika or anything. Me saying her hosting a party dedicated to hating Blitz was childish wasn't me saying that Blitz didn't do anything wrong to her. He obviously treated her badly, and that's not okay. And I'm not saying that you have to move on and be resilient and walk with your head held high after a relationship like that, but having a party isn't helping you cope. If anything, it's just making things worse. No matter how bad you're treated by someone, doing all of this is just really childish and counterproductive. And I know that Verosika tells Blitz that she had the party so she could help everyone cope with what he did, but you can do that without having a party, you know? Like, I feel like it would be more emotional and personal if it was like one-on-one. Like, no offense, but like, you barely know these fucking people. And even if we do take her word for it and she really was trying to help these people, it still is, again, counterproductive. And will honestly only probably make these people feel worse because they're literally at a party dedicated to the person they hate. So guess who's gonna be on their mind the whole time? Yeah. You see my point? So originally I did really like the little talk that these two have, but rewatching it, there's a lot of things that kind of annoy me. I'm not gonna play the entire thing because it's pretty long. I'm just gonna play some main points and give my thoughts on them.
Oh, you are so fucking shitty!
Moxie, yeah. Remember that? Yeah. So I don't really think you have the right to be calling anyone else shitty.
Are you expecting sympathy? Oh, poor Blitz. Finally having to own that his actions affect other people's fifis.
Yeah. How do you think Moxie felt? Excuse me. Okay, but like, how do you think Moxie felt when you fiddled his holes without his consent? Your actions affected his fifis, didn't they? No? You don't care? Alright.
The worst part is you still make me feel like a bad person for being angry at you now.
She claims to feel like a bad person for being angry at Blitz. But then why would you not only go out of your way to embarrass him in public in the season 1 finale, but then also have this fucking party? If you truly did feel like a bad person for hating someone who put you through so much, then why would you do all of this? Wouldn't you want to avoid remembering that person because then you'll only end up feeling worse about yourself? And again, like I said, I'm not blaming her for being upset. She has a right to be upset after how he treated her. It's just that by throwing a party about the person that you hate, you are allowing yourself to remember that person and keep the memories of what they did to you fresh in your head. I'm not saying you have to forgive and forget, but you should at least try to forget so you can move on and be happy. That's what bothered me about this scene, which sucks because I do think that they have some pretty wholesome moments, especially at the end where they kind of make up, except not really. Like, I thought that was cute. It's just everything aside from those little wholesome moments is so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, without the sexual assault scene, Verosika is like, okay, like, I don't think she's like overly amazing. I don't understand why everyone was praising her an apology tour. Like, she kind of was a mess in that episode. Yeah, because of the scene with Moxie, I'm sorry, like, I can't like her. I really wanted to, but I just can't. By the way, this video wasn't meant to like trigger Verosika fans or anything. I'm not trying to convince you not to like her just because I don't. I just thought it would be interesting to talk about this because, as I said before, I've literally never seen anyone shit-talking her. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, I've just never seen it personally. So I thought it would be interesting to cover to see what you guys think about it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please pray that my swords turn out okay, because I am very stressed. Thank you so much for watching and staying till the end, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.